The master decided to save his disciple after all. I'm so tired of running away from all these assholes. We have already managed to run around half of the forest together, and a little more and I'll just run out of steam. When the master will save me. I've called him so many times already. Let him already respond to my call. At the same moment, as if hearing me, the master appears in the vicinity. Zheng Lan. He calls my name, attracting his attention. Go to the right side, he advises me, looking through what is on the path that the student advised. If you take a good look at the road, you can see a ravine, which is covered with a very large stone from above. It looks like there was a collapse once, but if you look at it, you can see a small gap from below, and in theory, you can slip through there. So we run there. Having reached this place, I was able to slip through that gap, leaving my enemies on the other side. And since they are much bigger than him, they won't even be able to get through. It is for this reason that he mocks them. At that moment while he was climbing to the other side, you won't be able to log in no matter how much you want to. So don't force yourself and relax. Damn, the monsters are not very happy about what happened. They allowed themselves to miss this little ant, although they tried to kill him. Well, okay, let's give him a chance to run. We'll definitely catch him. A subhuman in a campaign with a lion turns to a huge pile of stone crabs and drives them far away. Get out of here, you trash of the First Order. He doesn't take them seriously at all. The stone crabs are unhappy with this, so they're going to prove what they deserve. Bite them. They are shouting resolutely as a whole group. The subhuman, along with the lion, only laugh at this loud statement. How dare you? The subhuman begins to speak, examining all the crabs that have jointly cordoned them off. You are newbies, small fry who won't be able to stand up against us. So their battle begins. The subhuman begins to fight back with his club, having managed to hook someone while waving it. And behind his back, a lion is fighting, beating off enemies with his claws. That's what I understand the battle. As I look at them, they're having a lot of fun without me. That's great. But the fact that they started the battle in just a few seconds is very surprising. Hey, I exhaled loudly, turning away from this unimaginable sight. Well, all the evil monsters that live in this forest are so unfriendly. Like that, they immediately use their fists and go into battle. But since they can have fun without me, then I won't touch them, I said aloud, moving away from the crack. We need to look around. A little further away I saw a huge lake or whatever it is. God, I'm just thirsty. I was very lucky to stumble upon a pond. I hope that the water in it is at least drinkable. To hell with it. So I ran straight to the shore, not paying attention to anything. When I reached the pond, I immediately plunged into it with my face, not looking at anything. The water is very refreshing. I am so drawn to drink it. But the inhabitants are a little surprised by such a drastic interference in their space. Pisces looks at the part of the protruding face with surprise, and some may be thinking of attacking. Having found some water, I pulled away from the edge of the pond and sat down a little further away. Right now I feel alive. Otherwise, after this running around, you can easily become a dead man, I said out loud, wiping my face from the drops left on the oval of my face. We rested a little and that's enough. It's time to get back to survival. By the way, the master disappeared somewhere after he told me where to run. Well, it looks like he just flew away and decided to leave me alone, as he had planned before. Well, since I don't have Wang Shulu, I can only count on myself, since the master may not come to my aid next time. First I need to find food in a place where I can hide for a while. Then I need to do all this before dark. Otherwise I will spend the night on the street completely hungry, I said, getting up from the heated place and starting to walk away from the lake. But suddenly I heard something behind me. A clear splash. What is going on there? Suddenly a shadow looms over me. Lifting my head from the ground, I see a lot of fish flying in the air. It looks like she jumped right out of the water. What else is this? And what about their face? Are they evil? What the fuck? I don't understand what's going on at all. Before I could react, all this fish started flying in my direction. And as soon as I was in their direction, the whole force of these fish immediately fell on me. It turns out they beat me up. It's just awful. So I found myself under a huge stinking blockage of fish. So also this whole pile is very heavy. One fish even managed to catch onto me and swallowed half of my head. Well, at least I've solved the food issue. Now I have something to eat, I said with a slightly sad face. But only this smell reached my receptors. I quickly jumped up from under the rubble and started shaking myself off. God, this fish stinks. This fishy smell is too strong. I'm not going to wash it off. We need to be careful. I'll get into some more mess. While I was thinking about all the options for a night's lodging and an approximate plan of action before dark, I began to remove the fish from my head, and she clung well with her teeth. But then I looked at her characteristics, and I was a little surprised. She was noted as a fish with a big mouth with the 3rd level. Even ordinary fish have different levels in this place. I said out loud, God, this forest of evil monsters is really dangerous. I need to be more careful and always be on guard. And as soon as I finished this sentence, I slipped on a fish when I was getting out from under a fish attack. so I started to lose my balance and my body quickly changed position in space. I shouted. I did not expect this from this situation at all. Similarly, I fell into a pond in which I recently drank water. And since I did not expect this, I did not have time to orient myself in this situation, but I managed to get more air into my lungs. While I was trying to figure out what had happened, a large number of fish were watching me, like those that attacked me on the shore. As soon as I noticed them, I realized that I had to get out of here. You never know what can happen. Otherwise, they don't behave like ordinary fish. Everything is too strange, and their face. Isn't that their face? Okay, I'll think about it later, there's no time. The fish started moving towards me. This is very bad. I quickly turned around and started rowing towards the shore. I need to swim out. With these thoughts in mind, I began to row diligently in order to get ashore. I need to get out before I run out of air in my lungs. But I didn't calculate one thing. This is their habitat, so they move much faster than me. So they got me faster than I could get close to the surface, but I was close. They all pounced on me, and at that moment I had nothing left to air at all. The fish completely surrounded me, not giving me at least some opportunity to grab onto the ledge, which is very close. They even continued to advance, from where there are so many of them. Damn, they came very close to me. I even have the opportunity to move somehow. I just need a little more effort, and I can reach the other shore. But the fish keep pressing into me. I'm running out of air. Is that really how I'm going to die? Everything is very bad. My eyes are starting to darken due to the lack of oxygen in my body. Damn, has my time really come again? Even my eyes can't stand it anymore. Everything started to fog up, and my lungs began to fill with water. This feeling of fullness is not the most pleasant. Am I dead again? And what will happen now? I never thought it would be so ridiculous. I died because of that stream of lake fish that swooped down on me. They literally strangled me. And at the same time, before that, I was able to escape from the clutches of a monster twice as large as all of them. Exactly. What about the master? I probably disappointed him. He had such great hopes for me. And the work at the base. He thought I could solve everything there. And now all the work that will take place there will fall on Zhu's fragile shoulders. How is she going to cope with all this alone? She doesn't take care of herself at all. He'll get hurt again and won't tell anyone. But then I really hope for the raven and the mouse. They will help if necessary, so everything will be fine. And the director will not succeed without me then, and everyone will figure out that the dragon's blood was stolen. And Miss Shen might get fired. And Yutong. I won't be able to take the exam with her. Damn, well, I'm sorry. I won't be able to fulfill my promise that I made to you. In fact, I had so much ahead of me. There are so many plans. But now I won't fulfill them. And what is that sound? Something familiar. Can I open my eyes? Oh, and what am I seeing? Is this me? Oh, this is my past life. I'm just a kid here. These are my past memories. I swing at them and hit with all my might into the belly of a bear that is standing on its hind legs and eating apples. Judging by my reaction to all this, I was at that moment as wrong as possible in what I was doing. It's necessary to think of something to beat a huge bear that is 2 or 3 times bigger than me. Yes, it was the most stupid thing to do. Well, I was a kid and not very bright. And if you look at the bear's face, you can understand that he is not very happy about it either. He's clearly angry. Then I took a few punches from him. The bear threw an apple at me, which he had recently chewed. It hurt. He put a lot of effort throwing it, but he wasn't really interested in me. So he saw that I got the change from him and just turned around and went about his business. Probably went to finish his apples. And I fell. Well, I was trying to prove something. Yourself. Maybe. Damn. I started to climb slowly. The recoil from the apple seemed to be strong. Failure again. I was saying to myself while someone came close to me. In fact, it was my father. But I don't notice him because I'm starting to dig into my anxious thoughts. If everything goes on like this, I won't learn anything and will remain a loser. I say out loud, blaming myself. I really want to sit in class with others, but for this I need to overcome myself. It's so hard, but I want to be with others at school. I want to see my beautiful classmates, but I can't because of my weakness. How helpless I am. But then I heard my father. I was surprised to see him at that moment. Zheng Lan, get up. You need to try again. That's the only thing he told me. I wanted to be like a father. He was a role model for me, strong and confident, while my younger version from a previous life was thinking. My father waited for a while and spoke again. If you want to leave here, he began, turning away from me. And if you want to go to school like all your peers, then you have to learn all the boxing techniques that I showed you. That's all. I don't demand more from you. After you learn everything, then I'll send you there. Yes, small, I'm not happy about all this. When I learn all these techniques, then I will be old. I will be somewhere in my 20s. I wailed in response to my father's words. Then I won't be able to go to school anymore. It will be too late. And my father just looks at me, clearly not understanding what I want to convey to him. Or maybe he just decided to keep quiet, but the devil knows. I remember that moment. He decided to interrupt my speech by changing the subject. he decided to interest me in history. Zheng Lan, do you know that this boxing skill wasn't actually invented by our family? What? I was surprised at that moment. Then why is it called the Zhen family boxing skill? The answer to this question is very easy, because at the moment when our ancestors mastered boxing skills, they had not yet given it a name. At the moment of the conversation, he paused a little, giving me time to think about everything. But he looked at me over his shoulder and continued. This boxing skill has 9 variations. He started explaining it to me on his fingers, but only the first 6 variations can be learned from all of them. Yes, I remember that too. The bottom line is that there is something missing in the last 3 variants, so in fact no one can learn them. Everyone who tried failed, but only the first 6 variations can give you great power. Finishing his monologue, he makes an initial swing with his hand, using all his muscles, puts the leg in the correct position, and at the end of the preparations, he seems to make a breakthrough. I thought it would be a jerk, but in fact he hit the air with all his strength, thereby letting the blow go further. The blow flew on without stopping, causing the trees to shake and break. I didn't see him, but I felt him. I felt a wave-like impulse from this blow. It even went over the ground. He completely destroyed the trees that stood in his way, and then he walked along the mountain, soaring into the sky along it. It all happened in a matter of seconds. My father's powers have always surprised me. After reviewing everything that happened, he turned in my direction and said, "Boxing skill can use all the strength of your body. Only you need to increase your own strength, so it happened that a lot depends on it. So as soon as your strength becomes greater, then you will become stronger. It all depends not on the skill, but on your own abilities. You have to understand that." I was surprised by this knowledge, so I just looked at my father, trying to comprehend what I had heard. The power emanating from our body, I asked out loud, but there was no answer to my question. The father insisted on his own. To go to school, you have to understand this, and remember it well. I understood why I remembered it now, and not later or earlier. I need to wake up and save my ass from here. At that moment I opened my eyes. I'm still in the same lake and surrounded by the same fish, and I still feel bad. I need to figure out what exactly needs to be done. I understood the theory, but in practice everything is more complicated. If the essence of a boxing skill is the concentration of physical strength, then magic should work the same way. But you need to understand exactly how I should collect all this magical power. So I'm trying to gather all the magic power in my fist. Or rather, I'm trying. It's a little difficult to concentrate in this situation. So again, concentrate. I need to combine boxing power, magic and physical in one blow. Damn it, I need to wake up. My eyes are closing. Something is working out. I mentally concentrate all the power I have in my fist. We have to hold her. Damn, it's hard for me to make a swing. A little more, and I'm getting it. It turns out that the master was watching his disciple all the time, and now he is sitting under a tree and waiting for new actions. Out of boredom, he began to play with the flower. Taking hold of the last petal, he came out of his thoughts and spoke out loud. Why didn't Zheng Lan come out of the water? He's been floundering there too long. It's been a few minutes since he got under the water and nothing has been heard from him since. This is very bad. I'm worried. And suddenly something bad happened to him. I don't want him to die. I'll wait a little longer and if anything, I'll go check what's wrong. He is my student after all, so he is under my responsibility. After waiting for some time after these thoughts, the master still went to see what had happened to his disciple. So he flies up to the place where he last saw him. Descending to the ground, he examines the entire space around and builds a chain of events. It looks like he slipped on a fish and fell into the water very close to the shore. Yes, it seems like a good thing, since it can be easily saved. But it's a bit ridiculous anyway. And then the master begins to invent a lot of things for himself. Maybe I should save him. He starts talking with a satisfied face. And in trouble, he will treat me with great respect. And that's not a bad idea. As soon as he finished thinking about it, something started happening underwater. The water began to move unnaturally. This is strange. Is the water moving? Suddenly, the water seemed to explode and a lot of water was poisoned by the flow upwards, wetting the master. Now he's all wet, and you can see from his face that it's not very happy. Well, it's good that at least the fish didn't get in his face. At the same moment, an ant's hand abruptly sticks out of the pond, and he tries with all his might to climb up to the shore. And barely, but he's doing it. Damn how tired I am. And he fell exhausted on the already wet ground. After lying like this for a while, he rises clearly, surprised by everything that has just happened. Yes, it was very close. A little more and I would have gone to feed them. But at least I'm alive now. Finally waking up, he realized that someone was standing next to him and raising his head. He saw the master's answering look. What? Why is he just standing here? It's like he left me and flew away. And why he's all wet? Master, what are you doing here? I asked him. The master averted his eyes and looked somewhere into the distance, cursing myself in my mind. I knew it. I should have saved him before that happened. And now I'm all wet. This is definitely a horror, and it sure looks like the owner wanted to save me. How generous of him. It pleases. I knew. I started talking. I knew the teacher was going to save me. Fortunately, I managed it myself before you had time to do it. God, what a good student I have. He's still quite innocent. The master thought and turned away and began to cry with happiness. This guy surprises me more and more often. If you take a good look at his attack, you can understand that it has only moved into the 3rd stage. It's very beautiful and amazing. It's a good sign that we're heading in the right direction. But it's very dangerous to leave him alone like this. Suddenly he won't have time to get out or I won't have time to help. Well, now I understand why your attack was so amazing. Turning around, the master told me. Immediately I decided to explain something to him. I tried to put it all together in one hit. I was trying to transfer my magic into boxing skills. I said it while I was getting up from the cold and wet ground. After examining my hand, I added, I even hurt my hand because of this simple blow. There was a good burn here, and my magic is almost completely gone. The master was a little shocked. Boxing skill, isn't it a very powerful skill that doesn't use magic? It also uses body power. Such a fusion of forces interested the man, but he did not believe this, although he was ready. Come on, show me your hand, the master asked, holding out his own in response. I did what I was asked to do without question. Having examined the hand with concentration, the master unexpectedly expressed, your hands are very badly burnt. Honestly, I would even say that the skill that you applied is similar to the flash of a magic dragon. I don't know how to explain it to you more precisely. What is he talking about? Is it a skill? A flash of a magical dragon? Is this a skill that is only used by dragons? It's not entirely clear what you're talking about. I will make you happy, he said to me, turning away. If you weren't underwater, your hand wouldn't be there anymore, it would just burn. The man noticed. And I also advise you not to use this skill yet. We can't know what else might happen. And wait until your body is strong enough to withstand this skill. What else could happen? I've only added a little bit of magic to the boxing skill. And this is the first variation, but it's already so strong, it's just amazing. And what happens if I use other variations? Their power can be immeasurable. Damn it, I need a human body. And then I can use other variations. Damn. The master returns to me with a small bottle and a smile on his face. Quickly apply a little of this medicine, the master offers me, holding out his hand with the object. You need a healthy hand. We still have a lot of work ahead of us. Thanking him, I took the bottle from his hands and poured everything that was there into my palm, a little interested in his words. A job? What other job are you talking about? The teacher in response to this smiled mysteriously and took me somewhere. Follow me if you want to know what I'm telling you. Of course, I'm interested, so I followed this person without any questions. And at that moment, a fight was going on the other side all the time. The lion and the subhuman are finishing off not the very last stone crabs. It looks like their battle was as hard as it was long. And the battle really excited them. The subhuman was in a state of bloodlust, and the lion beast became enraged. In fact, the master led me to the top of the mountain, where it was possible to see the battle of the lion and the subhuman well. They were all covered in blood until now, dealing with stone crabs. Their battle has already dragged on long enough. Looking at all this, the master only laughs strangely with a satisfied face. And they fight pretty well, but they take a long time. I thought they would have finished by this time. After listening to all his chuckles directed at these two, I asked, Master, why did we come back here? We've already left them. Why start again what I ran away from? I said with a doubtful look. Something is clearly wrong here. Everything is easy. The master answered my questions. We wait until they get tired. Then we will hit them. What? It sounds very funny. Is he kidding me? Master, you are stronger than all of them combined. Master, you can easily defeat them at the moment when they have a normal condition, so why delay? I have a bad feeling about all this. Don't think so much about it. The master answered me with a grimace. I'm still a demigod. This kind of constant struggle will only lower my standards. What is he talking about? Take this as an example. When you were in danger, I just gave you some important advice, but I never really fought for you. Your battle means only your victory, so be sure to remember. Turning to face me, he spoke sternly. When we're in danger, use only your head to solve your problem, and don't rely on me. Now I understand what he's talking about. This is the only way I can improve. We decided to keep watching their battle. Their skills are completely different, as is the way of fighting. They are really bloodthirsty. The subhuman tore off the stone crab's claw with one hand. With my bare hands. I'm shocked. This is how strong he must be to do such a thing. But suddenly his whole body was covered with some kind of blackish smoke and stopped creating a red glow. I haven't seen anything like this yet. And the subhuman just mumbled something about it. The skill is over. Time limit. And so that's what it was. It was a skill. I wonder which one. And out of impotence, the monster collapsed. He really just fell. And in response, stone crabs flew at him, which almost completely climbed on him while managing to beat him with their claws. The subhuman is just quietly crying under them from despair. On the other side of the carnage, the lion howled with indignation and fatigue. "You're a fool," he was shouting at the subhuman. "Why did you just drag me into this story with these crazy stone crabs?" At that moment, one of the crabs hit him on the hind leg, after which the lion could not stand it and fell to the ground. "Break his legs." Crabs were screaming. "Don't let him escape from us." That's how the situation changed in this battle. Those who at first seemed to be losers are going to win. "Well, I didn't expect this at all." I spoke out loud out of emotion. "Exactly. An amazing outcome. And now is the time to go and get their bodies." Finishing the last sentence, he looked at me strangely. "No, not that. I don't want to go down. I don't want. This I show with all my appearance, by sight and speech." I start arguing with a man. "Let me remind you that with a better look from below, you can see 5 crabs. And as you remember, I could barely cope with even one of them, so how can I cope with 5 at once?" But then the man abruptly interrupts me. I can feel his leg, don't I think? At this moment, the master kicks me in the back with all his strength, thereby throwing me down to the monsters. "Stop complaining like a puny newbie. Your master orders you to come down. So do it." So now I'm lying down with my face pressed into the ground. Damn it, I hate him. Immediately I hear him shouting, "Do not be sad. It's also a good chance to practice. Use your brain. I'm here so you have nothing to be afraid of. You're a complete fool. I don't understand. You told me yourself not to rely on you. And now you're saying the exact opposite. It's not fun at all. And such a sharp change of atmosphere pisses me off a little. The owner is too cruel. So I need to figure out how I can safely take what I need." I decided to sit pathetically on one ledge and started talking. "Hey crabs, give me the body of these 2 and I'll invite you to eat fish. What do you think about it?" According to the crab, it was not clear whether they did not understand what I said or were surprised by my offer, so they just stared at me for a while. They just turned away and thought I was a fool. Don't pay attention to his idiocy. Let's get on with it. How dare they? "You bastards," I shouted, pointing at them with my finger. "Who you just called a jerk. I'm very smart compared to you." They are terribly infuriating. So they also ignore me. Well, nothing. Soon they will get their own from me. What would you understand? When I was a human, my IQ was definitely higher than all of you. So I turned around and went into the woods for something interesting, while wailing, "You fucking crabs, you'll regret everything." Moving a little further from the clearing with crabs into the forest, I did something. How hard it is to carry it. The weight even leaves very deep footprints in the ground when walking. Finally, I came out of the forest with a huge piece of stone on my shoulders. Right now we're going to have fun. Well, I begin to speak, breaking the awkward silence. "I can't fight all of you, but this stone will knock the worst out of you. So one of you is the first." The best battle begins with jokes. The crabs start talking to each other. "Let's kill him already." And they're really figuring out who's going to fight with me. "You go first," one crab shouts. But there is one very intelligent crab from the whole pack. "Let's get out of here. It's better not to mess with this guy." Yes, he is absolutely right. Go away and the issue will be resolved. It's good that they thought about it all. I thought, putting a huge piece of stone on the ground. And it turns out that you are still a little smart. It's not as bad as I thought. Listen and think once you have a brain. A weak hero is afraid of a strong one. A strong one is afraid of an even stronger one. And an even stronger one is afraid of those who don't care about their lives. And to fight with me, it's better to train for another 100 years or even more. And it turns out the subhuman is still alive. More precisely, it was. He had just uttered his last sentence. "Ruhua, you're so beautiful that I'm afraid you'll be taken away after my death." God, even now he's thinking about that monster. But then he finally dies, as does his fellow soldier, Leo. But strange stones come out of them, as well as from other corpses lying nearby crabs. Then I hear the master's voice from behind me. "Using these magic crystals, you can create a fairly powerful array." So the master pulls his hand towards these magic crystals and, as it were, binds them. And they are attracted to him. What kind of crystals are these? While they were flying, I looked at them a little. And these are unremarkable stones. A little strength comes from them. But I still don't understand why we need them. Pulling all the fallen stones, the master carefully flew down from the top of the hill. I wish he'd let me down the same way, and not shove me. Well, okay. So the stones flew straight into his hands. So he took out without much effort. If you need to ask about these stones, then I seriously don't understand why they are needed, but maybe they have some important meaning. "Master," I called out, drawing his attention. "And what are these precious stones?" The teacher said one thing. "These are magic crystals." That's it. I figured it out anyway. Some colorful pebbles. He continued to speak. "Magic crystals are used everywhere. In weapons, potions, magic arrays. It is also used as a currency, so it does not depend on cities since its value is higher than that of gold. However, with all the wide application, they are very rare. So it means a rarely seen object. but we got these crystals from magical beasts. So there is a similar crystal in my head, am I right? I said to the master, pointing to my head. Sure. The teachers answered me by pointing their fingers at my head, where I had recently pointed. All animals have this crystal, so you need to be always on guard, as someone may try to kill you to take it away. Then I remembered some moment from the past, where I saw a similar pebble, and it looks like it was a similar crystal. Yeah, it's a little clearer now. Pancake. I thought about it, replaying that moment in my thoughts. I do not know, or rather I am not sure about it. Maybe this stone is too big to be a crystal, since all the stones that I saw in the master's hand were much smaller than that. But the teacher interrupts my thoughts by calling me to him. Zheng Lan, let's go. Why are you standing in one place? Well, we will solve this issue later. Moreover, I need to go back to the base to get it. I have to show this stone to the master later. The main thing is not to forget about it. I stopped standing just like that and turned around and ran towards the master. Master, wait for me. I shouted his back. As soon as I reached the master, we went together somewhere in the forest in search of a temporary shelter. The sun is completely gone, and the moon returned to the firmament, but unfortunately, without stars. For some reason, they are not visible at all today, although the sky is cloudless, and the temperature of the air from the cozy daytime has become colder. The master and I decided to have a snack on the very fish that attacked me earlier, having fried it on a bonfire. It tastes very good. It's a pity that there are no spices to add salt or pepper to it. But in such conditions, one should be glad that there is food at all. And the master sits and does something. He picks at some magic crystals that we took out with his reduced staff. What for? Good question. When he finished poking around, the master slightly removed the crystal, looking at it at arm's length, and then looking quite close to it. He's doing something weird. After biting off a piece of fish, I continued to consider the actions of the teacher. But in the end I decided to ask about what was happening. Master, what are you doing? You have been picking at these little stones with your staff for some time, and then you study them so closely. Pulling away from the subjects, the teacher answered my question. I carved the runes. It was at this moment that I carved the rune of becoming or formation. I haven't done this for quite some time, so I lost some of my skills. Therefore, I need to do everything more carefully, checking every stroke. A lot of concentration is needed here. Why is he so critical of military skills? He's trying so hard. It's impossible not to see it. Master, why do you talk about yourself like that? You're doing great. You can't even say that you haven't done this for a long time. Your concentration is very striking. I wouldn't be able to sit for a long time and strain my eyes like that. Plus, you need tremendous patience here, expressed his opinion, having chewed the fried fish to the end. The owner was pleased with such praise, so the mood improved a little. Of course I'm good at it. It was my idea to carve runes, so this education was created by me. But I've lost my skills a bit anyway. Now even cutting out a low-level magic array to collect information is difficult. It's a pity that I have a special rune for this. With some annoyance, he said, sending the stone somewhere in the air. It turns out that magic stones with runes carved on them fell to the ground, thereby causing some kind of glow. And after that, in place of this bright burst of magic, a circle with inscriptions was formed, or these runic circles. After all this, we walked to him, and the master stopped and uttered a short phrase. Just sit inside it all. Okay, I don't think it's anything dangerous. The main thing is not to be afraid. I will tell you everything you need. What we're doing won't do you any harm. The main thing is don't move, so now I'll give you a cultivation method. Good master, I just have to agree with everything that the owner tells me. It is he who is monitoring the situation here. Immediately, as soon as I agreed, the master put his palm on my head and gave me something. I felt it. When the glow stopped, he pulled away and uttered a short phrase. Use the spiritual method I gave you. And so that's what it was. Good. I need to concentrate and direct the force in the right direction. But then I decided to open my eyes, and I saw something strange. At first I didn't notice it, but now everything is blurring before my eyes because of these strange fireflies. Master, what are these multicolored lights? There are so many of them, and they are constantly moving without stopping. This is the color of the elements. Each element has its own. Red is fire, golden is the wind, brown earth, green tree, blue water, and black is darkness. Everything is logical, and white is light. Let's say magic meditation. It will help to collect magical essence. After the master's explanation about the colors of the elements, I began to immerse my consciousness. I need to clearly direct my strength for cultivation, and meditation should help in this. Purification of thoughts will be needed here. For a while, many essences unconsciously flew around me as if interested, but coming into contact. Later, fireflies with red color flew closer, but disappeared, and then the green ones. But suddenly the green magic crystal shone brightly for some unknown reason. I hope the so-called cultivation has occurred. Together with the crystal, a strange sensation appeared for a second, but only for a while and completely disappeared. So I decided to check it out by opening my eyes and taking a good look around. Suddenly there was some information that needed to be read or something happened to the essences. As I expected, the information was highlighted. In this case, this is information about the level increase. I moved from the 4th level to the 6th. That's what I didn't expect. It really worked. The so-called cultivation worked. The effect of this magic array is very powerful. I was able to raise 2 levels at once at a time. Getting up from the circle and looking around, I noticed something strange. There was only one crystal with a strange pattern, so I hurried to pick it up. All the stones except for him were completely broken. There was practically nothing left of them. I hope this is how it should be. It's terribly strange. Suddenly the master appears out of nowhere, reacting to the words I said. These crystals were broken specifically for you to make such progress. Without them, you wouldn't have raised as many as 2 levels at once. This procedure is very useful, so if you have enough resources in the future, then you should do this every day. This is strange. Isn't it just a waste of precious time? You can also raise the levels in another way, and it may be more convenient than all this. The master didn't seem to hear me and continued talking. Do you need a training room to test your abilities, which can be used around the clock? In general, it would be fine. Do you really have anything like that? I'm even surprised. Unfortunately, there is no such thing. The master muttered with a thoughtful face. If you think about it well, it's something like a treasure of cultivation. It can store excess magic back in the crystal so that you don't waste it, so to speak. This is the easiest way. So why don't we just create something like this? Don't you think at all that it will take? The initial investment will be comparable to using this formation many times. And that's a lot, believe me, 12 times. I'm surprised. Just, if we are talking about money, then we can earn the amount we need in a couple of days, so you can rest a little during this time. God, the master says with a smile. I didn't expect you to be so smart. I'm very surprised. Of course he's one. I'll do all the work. However, we will then need a combination of several formations. We'll probably be able to use Hulong Kai as a base. So you'll need to set up a couple of auxiliary arrays. During this dialogue, the master begins to look for something in himself. It looks like this crystal. To do this, we will also need a lot of resources and space. But immediately the master stretches out his hand and shows the crystal in the open palm. Here, in addition to hundreds of first-order crystals, there are 10 second-order crystals. I take the crystal with some surprise. Wow, that's actually a lot. Don't worry about it, the master said, turning his back on me. These magic crystals can be purchased for a gold coin, which you can easily earn by the way. So then I need to have time to get everything ready for the right moment, so I'll just leave it here for you. As soon as he finished the sentence, he jumped up and flew somewhere in the direction of the base or about somewhere there. He raised too much dust. And now not only is nothing visible and it's hard to breathe, it looks like he's very busy since he rode away so quickly. But he left me all alone. Is this really a good idea? Something bad always happens to me. He could make this action much calmer. But to hell with it, it's too late to think about it. I need to decide what to do all this time. It's just a so-so idea to hang around here. So we will fight. To start a battle with someone, I need a normal enemy. So we need to arrange a search. That's what we'll do. Having arranged a check, I did not find anything that might interest me. And this is very sad. I need to find the enemy to start the battle. And there's nothing here. Maybe all the magical evil beasts in this forest sleep at night. I was thinking while walking between the trees and making my way through the bushes. But there was actually one monster standing behind me. And I didn't notice anything at all. Probably for various reasons. Perhaps because it was a dark night. And we are in a forest that has a lot of shadows, so I could just not see it. Or maybe I just didn't pay attention. But then he just noticed me, even before I noticed him. As usual, I need to test my skills, so I probably need a defensive type of magical beast, as it will take me some time to defeat it. So this is the best option. Well, as usual, a magical beast stabs me in the back. Nothing in life changes. So I, thinking about something, did not notice the frog flying towards me. But it's a little strange that before the jump it was under the snail shell. This won't happen to me anymore. If earlier someone could get to me through my back without diligence, now a lot has changed, I thought, glaring at the monster behind me. And then I suddenly removed the monster coming at me with a part of my body. Well, I said after making one strong blow in the middle of the head, you really took the initiative on your own and came to your doom. Having found the most necessary thing for me in his head, I abruptly took my hand out of the already lifeless body, and a green crystal appeared in my hand. This is very pleasing. Well, here's the first stone and soon I will have a lot of them. But still, I'm bored with the advantage compared to them. And then suddenly I will also be attacked from behind. It will be somehow uncomfortable. You can jump on trees. Exactly. That's a good enough idea. This makes it easier for me to find animals, and it will be safer for me if I encounter, for example, a stronger opponent. So I changed my position in space and jumped onto a tree branch. It all took me at most 2 seconds. So in the following moments I acted very carefully, jumping from one branch to another. thus jumping to other trees and moving further and further through the forest. The next moment, suddenly we see a girl running through the forest. This is exactly the girl who supposedly stole the dragon's blood. A whole group of mercenaries is running after her. Someone is armed to the teeth, fully dressed in armor, and someone is completely light, so it's easier to live. Faster, they shout. We need to hurry so as not to miss this woman. Yes, this group of mercenaries did not seem to be going to lag behind her. And I wanted to just get out of here, but apparently it won't work. While the beautiful stranger was thinking about her possibilities and assuming an approximate plan for survival, one of the mercenaries suddenly appeared from the forest from the side and was going to attack me. Damn, and there is no end to these guys. The one who recently jumped out of the treatment shoots something at her, but she safely manages to dodge, thereby avoiding the scar on her body. She needs to knock all these guys off her tail or kill them all. Unfortunately, there are not so many options. Immediately, the girl abruptly turns half a turn, thereby facing the enemy and uses the Dragon Claw skill. So instead of her hand, a black clawed paw appears and with it she points at the guy chasing her. After you've been running after me for so long, I probably should take you seriously, but I don't want to. Making a dash in his direction and waving her hand, she says, but you should give up the fight with me if you want to live. Thank you, but no, beautiful beauty, said the guy completely hidden in the clothes. You can't fool me. I won't fall for your sweet talk. So he decided to resist me after all. This is his worst decision in his life, and also his last. What a pity. Although no, I'm not sorry at all. So I decided to attack first. I swung and caught his side with my hand, thereby tearing off several parts from him. The guy was obviously not ready for this. What? How can this be? By the time the girl finished with the guy, a group of mercenaries attacked her. The short one still managed to reach her. Guys surround her, and it looks like the commander shouted, "Hey," and she thought that she would just quietly run away without any failures, and here is such a setup. What a pity. But what to do is a battle. It means a battle. Guys, I shout, attracting all their attention. Yes, much more attention from them. They stare at me intently, not missing a single slightest movement. I don't want to do this, you understand me. Stop talking, the leader of the group shouted, standing in a stance, preparing for battle in advance. It doesn't make any sense, so just give me what you stole. The guy squinted contemptuously. And of course you're coming with us. She is surprised by such zeal. But what can they do? It's not that they don't agree with her. They're not even going to listen to her, as if deliberately ignoring a very good offer. But I tried. Please don't blame me. I warned you as much as I could. At one point, the girl makes one quick jerk and grabs the sword that the guy put in front of her, thinking that he could defend himself. Taking his black dragon hand by the blade, she easily broke it in half, while managing to bend her arm and plunging one of the parts remaining in her palm into the guy's neck. He was very scared and didn't understand anything at all, so he didn't realize that he was dead. It's very sad. I didn't want to do it, but I had to. I warned them. I'll tell you guys something. There is one rule in battle and it must be remembered. Otherwise your fate will be sadly fast. Whoever moves first always wins the battle. Solemnly, with a smile, I tell them before the swing. Although you don't need this knowledge anymore. The girl made a blow injuring all the people at once. A serious fight started. For them. And for me it was quite a performance. There's more pressure every second. It's amazing. Distracted by the main group, consisting of knights and archers and only occasionally magicians, I missed something. Someone might be behind me. I heard the chanting of spells. Turning around, I saw a wizard, clearly not an entry level. Damn, I need to get to her before she finishes her spell. Spirits responsible for the magic of water. She keeps whispering the spell. Damn, now a guy completely dressed in armor is preventing me from getting to her, who confidently grabbed my leg, clearly not going to let me go. He decided to make himself a victim. Damn, this guy is too annoying. Get away from me. How infuriating. Who I told, get away from me. Did you hear me badly? Instead of solving the issue with the magician, I'm dealing with you now. The girl continues to recite the spell. You are welcome. Give me the strength to calm my anger and destroy the wicked in front of you. Damn, I didn't have time. The girl raises her staff to the sky and shouts out the last words. An ice storm. Looks like she's not as strong as I thought. A huge cloud of dust rose from this spell. It will help me make a surprise attack. Damn, they're all tired. She even ruined all my clothes. This is my favorite kit. The girl began to rejoice at my death, but when she saw my face through the fog and was horrified, her face took on a funny expression, completely filled with amazement. Ice Storm is the most powerful magic in the 3rd level. She started whispering to herself, and she hit you right in the forehead directly, but you're still alive and without even one injury. Who are you? You're a dumb girl. I jerked up to her, grabbing her by the throat with a dragon hand. It wasn't very noble, I said, turning around and looking at the man who was holding my leg. But now there was only a mess left of him. Vanya's comrades were still alive, but you cast the spell without hesitation. You have to pay for this. So I started slowly squeezing her throat, gradually cutting off her oxygen. But she was still able to speak. You are welcome. She asked me for help. I was wrong. I am aware of this. It's all empty talk. How infuriating it is. The girl squeezes her opponent's throat a little harder, and she begins to choke. And if I squeeze a little more and easily break her neck, but I won't do that. The girl let go of her even before she suffocated, relented, so to speak. You'd better go and talk to your comrades. I spoke to her in a tired voice. I'm not up to her right now. We need to leave quickly. A little away from the battle. The girl noticed an open wound in the abdomen. This is very bad, very bad. The blood began to spread more and more over the tissue. Trying to stop the blood, I started to hold the wound with my hand. But in this case it won't work because the wound is much bigger than I thought. It's all because of communicating with some people that I've become like this. Damn, it hurts so much. I lost a lot of blood and overexerted myself, even too much. My eyes are closing. I can't keep them open. Damn. So the girl fell to the ground, completely exhausted. We are transported back to our ant. A lone lizard, similar to a monitor lizard, skillfully hides in the bushes, watching its prey, which looks like a white rabbit. Probably this is it, just a beast. Having caught its delicious prey at one point, the lizard jerks the hair, almost completely sticking out its tongue from the meat that comes to life. After killing the rabbit beast, the lizard begins to slowly eat it, but noticing some strange swarming stopped. In fact, I was looking at it all, waiting for the right moment to attack, and it looks like he felt it. Then I found the perfect moment to attack. The lizard turned away, exposing its back to me, and I decided not to delay. Jumping down from a tree and falling like a stone on a lizard, I hit her neck with all my strength with my foot, and he passes out. After searching a little more, I finally got a magic crystal out of the head of this huge lizard. Yeah, I sighed loudly out loud. I came across a crystal of the first order again. I need something higher. Then you need to look for stronger enemies. While I was thinking about where to look for stronger enemies, I was swimming in my thoughts. But then I smelled a strange smell and magic. Turning in the direction from which this power comes, I saw a huge amount of smoke. I immediately had questions about where and why. Why is there smoke coming from that part of the forest? And I decided to check it out. And suddenly there is a fire, then there will be no forest. And if it's something serious, then maybe I can get magic crystals, since people usually don't come here. So I headed in that direction, trying to find the epicenter of all the problems. He spent relatively little time on the whole journey. He had to leave the forest and head to the center through a small clearing. That's how I got to all of this. This must be the place, I said, peeking out from behind the bushes. And I saw something terrifying. Lots of people's bodies. Too much. All beaten, bathed in blood. In the middle lies a knight, all dressed in iron armor, all terribly beaten and dented. And there is some kind of smoke coming out of it, which I saw from afar. And almost all of them have magic ice crystals sticking out, so that's where the magic comes from. After watching the clearing, I realized that everyone lying here was dead, so I decided to go out and look around more carefully. Who cut them up like that? What kind of beast were they fighting? I passed several corpses, having examined them all well. But then I saw that there was some kind of bag lying near one of the knights. It looks very suspicious. He's just lying there. Well, it's always necessary to check. So I bent down and stretched out my hand towards this bag. I calmly picked it up. I would not say that it is too light, since it definitely has a weight and is quite good. I decided to open it, and I was very surprised to find it. There are a huge number of magic crystals, and at the same time different levels. I'm completely amazed. It was necessary for me to get there and find this bag. There are so many of them here, I don't even know how many of them there are. I quickly scanned the area again and didn't notice anyone alive. Hell, everyone's dead, so I don't know who to return it to, and I don't think anyone might need it. But after a little thought, I realized and said to myself, I do not know if there are other people here, but if I find someone alive who will be the owner of these crystals, then I will return them to him. At this moment, behind him, the same girl who had a terrible wound on her stomach began to get up from the ground. Then she noticed something moving, immediately realizing that it was a living object, even like someone similar to a person, only with a tail. Barely waking up again, she opened her eyes, rising on her elbows, trying not to disturb the deep wound on her stomach. The girl saw who was sitting in front of her. She realized that it was his acquaintance, Slayerdragon Ant. But what is he doing here? This is the territory of the forest with evil monsters, especially in this clearing, strewn with corpses. The ant did not notice the swarming from behind, because during the examination of the corpses on some important items, he was talking to himself, trying to pass his time like that. After I take out the things, I have to bury them. This is accurate and mandatory. Still, it's not polite to just mock the bodies, so I'll bring them peace. In time for this, the girl found the strength to stand on her feet, but not completely standing on them. It's hard to keep your balance when you've lost so much blood. So I, slowly, talking to myself, alternately checked all the bodies lying in this clearing. A long search is very difficult, so you have to carry yourself away with something. I should always check everything, in case I find something very important. Searching the next body of a knight in armor, I found a bra on him. What? Why does he need a woman's bra? You're a very strange man, I said, looking in his direction, as if waiting for an answer from the dead body. Suddenly I heard something strange behind my back. It was as if someone had fallen to the ground with all his strength. I was even scared with all my might. I was not ready for this as much as possible, so we must immediately take the victim's position. I need to immediately bow down and beg for forgiveness. It may not save my life, but it may surprise my enemy a little. Brother or sister, please forgive me. I didn't mean anything by robbing your colleagues. I'm just surviving as best I can. Understand me, I shouted, falling on my knees on the hard ground and starting to bow. But something is wrong. Absolutely nothing is heard. Is this person a ghost? I'm afraid to open my eyes. Suddenly they'll kill me right away. But when I decided to open my eyes, I noticed familiar clothes and facial features. Oh, this is that girl. More precisely, this is a thief being chased by the director. What is she doing here? Especially with all these torn clothes and completely unconscious. Was she the one who fought with all these people? This is another question. Nothing is clear, and it probably won't work to ask her since she is completely unconscious. At this moment we see a completely different clearing. As I promised myself, I'm going to bury all these people as befits. So I found the right place and at the same time moved the girl to the tree. Taking a good sword from one of the corpses, I started digging holes for them. Of course, it's not very convenient to do this with a sword, but this is the best option for all of them. I can't dig everything with my hand. At some point I had to go down into the dug hole and keep digging there. Having dug a hole about 2 meters deep, I stopped. That's enough. With such thoughts, I slowly climbed to the surface. Why is it so difficult? Just a horror. Is this really the life of those who dig graves and take care of the wounded? At the end of the phrase, looking at the girl with a glance, it's very tiring. But what to do with this wounded girl? But here's the question. Immediately I took a thoughtful pose, digging into my thoughts. Why am I worried about her? In fact, if I think about it carefully, I could just pick up the things she stole while she was unconscious. So at the same time, my goal has been achieved. I have collected a large number of magic crystals, and I can just leave after burying the bodies, leaving her alone. I need to search her. Only here's the problem. Where exactly to start? Well, I don't even know. I'm a little embarrassed by the fact that her clothes are very thin and reveal some revealing places. These collarbones are cut out, and cute knees. I am very embarrassed. I do not know how to behave in such situations, but I need to search her, and like an idiot, I stand and am confused, not knowing where to start. Well, I'm not going to paw her, but I'll check for the presence of any things. Damn, I need to hold on. I must not fall from the seduction of my own thoughts. We need to hold on and not give up. Well, I won't do anything wrong and plus she's unconscious. I do not know what to do. I am overwhelmed with all sorts of thoughts, both completely bad and not so bad. It's like an angel and a demon are sitting on my shoulders and whispering something in my ears. I can't stand it anymore. We need to decide something already, otherwise I'm just standing over her. So I decided to search her. Just search it. I'm just looking for the things she stole. I don't have any bad thoughts at all. At all, I say out loud, trying to at least convince myself of the opposite. But you can see from my face that I'm not very good at it. Here I try to reach with my shaking hand to the place where the stolen can lie. That's what I told myself. In fact, I was just reaching for her bust. I can't do anything about it. My hand moves by itself, not having time to do what I wanted or didn't want. It's impossible not to get confused. And then I heard some kind of whispering, barely audible and distinguishable. She was whispering the same thing. Dragon Ant, Dragon Ant. And I jumped up from fright. Shit, damn, she doesn't wake up, does she? I didn't do anything at all, but I was already scared. Quickly turning around, I pretended that I had not done anything near her body recently, awkwardly whistling some melody. After waiting some more time, I realized that she didn't seem to be going to wake up and it was just a sleepy delirium. She just decided to suddenly talk in her sleep, and I almost had a heart attack. After watching her condition a little more, I didn't notice any changes. Her face also did not express any emotions. She doesn't move at all, so she just stayed down the same way she was lying before. Yeah, it looks like you're just talking in your dreams. After all, I said it out loud, and I was already wildly worried. What are you doing? In fact, I assume that if she wakes up, she will definitely kill me. Well, at least I'm sure of it. Yes, to hell with these worries. If she wakes up and turns out to be stronger than me, then she can easily kill me, and I won't be able to stop her. It's been a long time. Very much so. I managed to dig more and more graves, and at the same time I made a small rest stop to rest. During this time I checked the wound that I healed on the girl's stomach, And then I went to dig up the bodies again and put the bodies of the murdered people there. During this time, the girl slept a little, having managed to replenish some of her strength. Therefore, he began to slowly come to his senses, and suddenly she woke up abruptly, opening her eyes wide. Her face stretched out very much, as if she was afraid of something. She must have dreamed something not very good. She screamed and bent down a little, saying my name, the Lord of the Dragon Ant. Immediately, due to the fact that she jerked out of sleep, she accidentally strained her stomach. But she was surprised, because she was ready to feel a lot of pain, but this did not happen. After checking her torso well, she realized that her wound had healed. Did the deep wound heal so quickly? It's just unbelievable. This is simply impossible just like that. Therefore, it becomes clear that she was cured, and only he could do that. This ant. This, strange, and very nice of him. I didn't even think he was capable of such a thing. Recovering from this amazing incident, I hurriedly looked around in search of an ant, and I found an unusual picture. Huge graves have been dug in the middle of the clearing, and in several of them the bodies of people are already lying. It really struck her. It looks like some benevolent adventurer stumbled upon these bodies and decided to dig graves for them. Looks like he's going to bury them. The girl decided to get up. If there is no wound, then she will be able to stand on her feet quite tolerably. Once again, after looking around more carefully, she confirmed her guesses. There's no one here. It looks like I just dreamed that I saw the Lord Dragon Ant. That's all I was thinking about while I was trying to find a balance. But suddenly she saw something. Something incredible. What is it? I saw the Ant Dragon Lord. Oh my god. I was very surprised. He carefully carried the body of the dead knight in the direction where the graves were. Did he really bury them while I was unconscious? I didn't expect this at all. This is Lord Dragon Ant, I shouted, covering my face with my palm. My face changed from surprise, eyebrows ridiculously raised and eyes widened to an impossible size. I thought about it. How many years has it been since the Dragon Ant was born? Probably more than 100, if not more. And due to the revival of the Dragon Ant clan, his bloodline was revived. It's just amazing. Then I heard a familiar girlish voice from behind me. This very young knight seems to belong to the first or second category. It surprised me. It turns out that she was already awake, and I didn't even notice it while I was doing my business. After talking a little, I still decided to put this corpse where I was going to carry it, so I asked her to wait or she could safely come with me. She said that she would be next to me and her appearance showed that she was absolutely not going to leave me. Very strange. Having reached the pit carefully, I calmly laid the body down, and I finally delivered everything. God, I'm tired, I said, looking at my work done. But after thinking a little, I bitterly exhaled from frustration. In the end, I couldn't find the dragon's blood. It's a little sad. Well, it shows that she is friendly towards me, so I'm not afraid that she will kill me, so I can basically continue the search. My face suddenly took on a dreamy look. But this pair of big breasts is very suspicious, so I have to focus my research on them. This simply cannot be ignored. And then they say yes to me. Good, good. Be sure to do research. I can't wait. But I didn't really understand it. Full realization didn't come to me. But this is no good. No one should. No, I really don't mind. Really, right for real. And then I realized what had just happened. Yes, I really want it. She really started moving towards me, almost touching me with her bust. I don't believe she seriously allowed me to do this. But it's too late to refuse, so I can offend her. So in a panic, I agreed. God, I didn't think so. She's real. God forgive me. You're awake, I said, turning to face her. What should I do? Then I heard a strange question. Why aren't you doing anything? Didn't you want to poke dragon blood here? At the end of the sentence, the girl said, pointing to her bust. I can't do that. Immediately I started waving my hands away. There's no need for that. I was just kidding. But then I was suddenly grabbed and shoved into something soft. Oh my god.